An investigation is underway after a small plane crashed shortly after takeoff this morning in Centennial. Welcome in. I'm Alexandra Lewis.
I'm Jennifer Meckles. Sam Shocker's off tonight. Both people on board that plane died when it crashed. It went down in an industrial park just east of the airport. Here's the path, the flight path that it took in red there. Happened around 6:30 this morning.
9 News reporter Evan Krugel has been at that scene for hours. Evan, the plane crashed right next to where people were working and they saw this happen.
Yeah, really scary situation, Alex. That plane came down in this industrial park, barely missing some generators right here behind me. Today we spoke with people who raced over to help, but found nothing but a fiery mess.
Centennial Tower, wind at 090 at 8. Super takeoff.
When your office sits next to a runway, loud noises can blur together for people like August Fessy.
Every day, nonstop planes, we're used to it. So this was a little bit scary of an experience.
Shortly after clocking in, August heard something different.
It sounded like someone dropped a rather large metal dumpster from a pretty high height. So rather than a boom, it was a bang.
Tower, there's smoke off the left side. Looks like he went down.
August raced over to help, but found nothing he could save.
There was nothing. It was just a fiery mess.
Flight data shows that Beechcraft BE-35 airplane was performing touch-and-go maneuvers at the airport, taking off and landing again after short loops. But on this takeoff at 6:22, the airplane made its usual turn to the left, circled back toward the airport, and went down. Both people on board were killed.
There was no plane noise that came through. It was just the impact and an immediate explosion. Never heard a plane arriving or any of that nature.
August is thankful firefighters got here quickly.
We were able to get water on both of the generators and the aircraft and put that fire out.
I imagine if one explosion leads to another and another and a chain reaction. So yeah, it got pretty scary there.
He's mourning the 2 lives lost, but thankful they went down where they did.
Odds are they were probably shooting for that field. They did the best that they could. They did an incredible job of not hurting anyone else.
Back here live, you can see investigators from the NTSB pouring over that wreckage. They have been out here most of the day trying to figure out what might have caused this crash. We do not know the identities of those 2 people who were on board. We're told this investigation could take months to complete. Reporting live near Centennial Airport, Evan Krugel, 9 News.
Another deadly plane crash. Scary moments there, Evan. Thank you for that.
A cold front last night brought cooler temperatures and also some wildfire smoke from fires burning in British Columbia and the Pacific Northwest, making for a very icky kind of weather today. Chris Bianchi joining us now. Hopefully that can move out soon, but this colder weather certainly feels nice.
Yeah, I think a lot of us kind of liking the cooler fall-like feel, not loving the wildfire smoke. A little bit of that kind of split screen right now. That smoke fairly visible here over the eastern plains. This is Akron right now where things looking a little bit hazy, and same for us here in Denver. We are seeing a little bit of sunshine trying to poke through right now. The temperatures only low to mid 60s for us right now around the metro area, our coolest day since May for us across the Denver area. Eastern plains 50s, 60s, a lot of 60s and 70s for us in the high country, a little bit warmer the further west you go across the state. Temperatures have really tumbled over the last 24 hours. That cold front moved through between about 7 and 7:30 last night across Denver. As it did, it tumbled those temperatures and drew in all that smoke out of the north and east. Still seeing a few showers, some of those the foothills south and west of Denver, but the main action across our central mountains. And an air quality alert that has now been canceled for the I-25 corridor, but continues for our northern and western mountains. I'll have details on that and when that smoke goes away and when those temperatures warm back up. I'll have more on that in just a few minutes.
Chris, thank you. The Lone Tree Police Department is now asking for help after they found a woman dead in a home recently. This happened yesterday during a welfare check near Meadows Park Drive. Police say they're treating this as a suspected homicide pending the results of an autopsy. If you know anything, they'd like to hear from you. You can call them at 720-509-1160.
A man is arrested after allegedly intentionally driving off the highway toward a crowd of protesters in Park County on Labor Day. The Park County Sheriff's Office says a group of protesters were gathered on the shoulder of Highway 285, just north of Rosalie Road, when a man drove his pickup truck toward that crowd. Multiple people reported to officials they had to jump out of the way as the suspect, Hawk Nosaka, drove toward them while yelling and flipping people off. According to an affidavit, Nosaka admitted to flipping people off, but denies driving off the road toward them. He was arrested on suspicion of attempted vehicular assault, reckless endangerment, and reckless driving.
A Weld County jury convicted a former high school basketball coach of sexually assaulting several girls. The Weld County District Attorney's Office says this started with a safe-to-tell tip back in 2021, reporting that 33-year-old George Sagner had an inappropriate relationship with one of his players. Investigators found it wasn't just one, but at least 3 of his players over the course of a decade. One of those lasted more than 2 years. His sentencing is now scheduled for January 6th. He faces on the low end 10 years up to 144 years in prison.
In health news, starting today, CVS and Safeway pharmacies across Colorado are administering COVID-19 vaccines to people 12 and older with no prescription required. We're still waiting to hear from Walgreens. This comes as the Colorado State Pharmacy Board adopts emergency rules, giving authority to licensed pharmacists to prescribe and administer vaccines.
It's still dynamic right now. Everyone is kind of wondering what is happening. What do we need to do? Do we need one? Do we not need one? And today kind of solves that issue for us.
Earlier this week, places like CVS and Walgreens said they were going to restrict access to updated COVID-19 vaccines in 16 states, including Colorado. The pharmacies were waiting on a recommendation from a federal vaccine advisory board, but that isn't necessary following the state pharmacy board's new ruling.
Now for a local business roundup. AMC Theaters permanently closing its 20 Mile 10 Cinema in Parker. AMC says the theater, which is along Stage Run Road near South Parker Road and Main Street, it's going to have its final day this Sunday. The nearest AMC theater near Parker now is Arapahoe Crossing, 16 at Parker and Arapahoe Road.
A popular chicken chain is opening its first Colorado restaurant in a week and a half. Starbird announced the location will be at 965 South Colorado Boulevard. The Denver spot is Starbird's first location outside of California. Opening day is Monday, September 15th. To celebrate, they're going to give away 200 free meals that Friday, September 19th. They said more locations in Colorado are already in development.
Spirit Halloween planning to open up 39 pop-up stores across Colorado this fall. That's 9 more locations than they first announced last month. Colorado Springs and Denver will have the most, Westminster right behind them. The company says they'll be looking to fill 50,000 temporary positions at more than 1,500 stores that they expected to open this year. Those jobs don't last very long, though. Stores close once November rolls around, which makes sense because then Halloween's over. Well, most people not called Spider-Man are trying to avoid walking down the side of a building.
But today in the Denver Tech Center, people are signing up to do exactly that. The Cancer League of Colorado is holding its 17th annual Over the Edge fundraiser this weekend. With a donation, people can rappel down the side of Kempton Claret Hotel, under professional supervision, of course. All the money raised goes to cancer research and patient care through Cancer League of Colorado. Gary Reese, the organization's president, says he's seen firsthand how the money raised at this event really does change lives.
A child of a very close friend of ours, her life was saved by one of the doctors that we support with grants from Cancer League of Colorado through the research that they performed with those grants. So what's happening here and what's happening with the dollars that Cancer League raises is saving lives, and it has directly impacted people we know and we care about.
They ask for a minimum $1,000 donation to rappel and have a few spots open for people to sign up on Saturday.